यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदा भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, अंतर्गत मायापुर धाम की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वावेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदी all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to devotees, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. It's Canto 2, chapter number 9, and text number 28.
Natabar made a mistake with the schedule. Natabar must have made a mistake with the schedule.
So let us read that verse first.
Yeah, maybe we should just continue on 28 again, not to
Right.
mess up the whole.
क्रीडस्य मोघ संकल्प. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I just gotta open it up.
क्रीडस्य मोघ संकल्प ऊर्णनाभीर्यसोरुण तथा तद्विषयं देहि मनीषां मयि माधव। क्रीडस्य मोघ संकल्प ऊर्णनाभीर्यसोरुणुदे तथा तद्विषयां देहि मनीषां मयि माधव। क्रीडस्य मोघ संकल्प ऊर्णनाभि यथोर्णुदे तथा तद्विषयां देहि मनीषां मयि माधव. So everybody know how to repeat, so we don't repeat that. But let's go to the word-to-word translation now. Kridasi means as you play. Amogha, infallible. Sankalpa, determination. Urnanabhi, the spider. Yatha, as much as. Urnute, covers. Tatha, so and so. Tat Vishayam, in the subject of all those. Dehi, do let me know. Manisham, philosophically. Mai, unto me. Madhava, O Master of all energies. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O Master of all energies, please tell me philosophically all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy, and your determination is infallible. By the inconceivable energy of the Lord, every creative element has its own potencies, known as the potency of the element, potency of knowledge, and potency of different actions and reactions. By the combination of such potential energies of the Lord, there is a manifestation of creation, maintenance, and annihilation in due course of time, and by different agents like Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, and Lord Shiva destroys. But all such agents and creative energies are emanation from the Lord, and as such, there is nothing except the Lord, or the one supreme source of different diversities. The exact example is the spider and the spider's web. The web is created and by the spider, and it's maintained by the spider. As soon as the spider likes, the whole thing is wound up within the spider. the spider is covered with the web. If an insignificant spider is so powerful as to act according to its will, why cannot Supreme Being act by His supreme will in the creation, maintenance, and the destructions of the cosmic manifestations? By the grace of the Lord, a devotee like Brahma or one in his chain of disciplic succession can understand the Almighty Personality of Godhead, eternally engaged in His transcendental pastimes in the region of the different energies. So, as like Ramarao Prabhu already explained, that this is a dialogue between Lord Brahma and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna Himself. So it's very interesting that it brought us to chapter number 9 of Bhagavad Gita, and there are very important verses which directly reflects this particular verse that we are doing it. First one was Maya tatmidam sarvam jagat avyakt murtinam matthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshva stitah. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And the next one, Nacha matthani bhutani pashyame yogeshmaram bhutabrunna cha bhutastho mamatma bhutbhavanaham. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. So this is a very beautiful reference he gave based on Bhagavad Gita, that Lord Krishna is everything. In creating, and whatever you see around the visible world, two things are there. One is called Upadana Karana, or for example, if there is a clay pot, the material that is required to make something is upadana. So when we say clay pot, the clay, the earth is upadana. And nimitta means instrument. So the person who is making that clay pot, right, he is pot maker, is a nimitta, instrumental cause for that particular object. So there are so many objects around here, invisible universe, and they all have upadana and nimitta. But if you think, for example, a ring, golden ring that you are wearing, the gold is a upadana. And who makes that? The gold maker, the smith, goldsmith is actually creating that ring. So there are two different people or two different entities involved in everything that we see in this visible world. One is upadan and other is the nimitta or instrumental. Gold and goldsmith, the clay pot and the pot maker. Similarly, the cloth. So one who spins the cloth, weaves the cloth, right? He is a cloth maker, or one who is tailoring the cloth. And what we are wearing the dress, they are all different. But in case of Krishna, he is upadan as well as he is nimitta or instrumental. Everything is Krishna, everything is coming out of Krishna, and he is the one who is creating, maintaining and destructing. So it's like a one-man show. So is there anybody else in this world that we can understand that particular example of this process? So I was just reading the Ramayana, and that's why I also brought the Ramayana with me, because he looked it from Prabhu look it from Gita point of view or Bhagavatam point of view, it's interesting to see the same thing from Ramayana point of view. Because scriptures are scriptures. When you talk about Guru, we all have the same thing, right? Sadhu, we have the same associations. And scriptures, we have also help of the same Guru who gave us all these books and all that. So Ramayana is a part of Bhagavatam. And there is a portion in 9th canto, and if you go to chapter 9, 10, 11, all those, they are all Ramayana. And that we read last week upon about 9 days. So here it says, Yathorna nabhi sujate gruhyate cha yatha prithvi yamoshadaya sambhavanti. Here it says, yatha means just like. Urnanabhi. Urnanabhi is, what is Urnanabhi? You already read yesterday. Urnanabhi is a spider. Urn is wool. So this particular Prabhu is wearing the chadar, could be wool. I don't know, but can be wool. And it's better if it's wool, because that's the only thing serves as something warm. The cotton is cotton. The silk is silk. But wool has some warmth in it. And Nabhi is the navel. So what happens, that the shape of the spider you see as if there is a Nabhi, the circular Nabhi navel, and then they have the 8 legs only. This is the body of spider, the design of a spider. If the artist wants to draw quickly, he'll just draw a quick circle and a boom, 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 boom. Four legs this way, 4 legs this way, that's a spider, right? And when you touch that Nabhi, what happens? Urna. That is the temperature. When you touch me, that is the temperature. When you touch the still, it's cold. So you can say that this is living and this is dead. So Urna Nabhi is a navel which has some temperature, because it's a living entity, the spider itself. So the name is given is Urna Nabhi. And then Srujate Gruhyate means spider is not bringing any gold or silver or cloth or anything out of this. He just thinks of his own body and what he can create. So he can create some kind of saliva, and then he is spinning that and is making a wave out of it. If you study architecture or art, that's an amazing form in subject of geometry. It's so beautifully done, and there is no limit to its designs. Every wave is different, and every wave is fantastic. And then the Urnanabhi, the spider is enjoying. And from the last end, he starts swallowing those fibers that he made, and everything goes back to his body. So here Srila Prabhupada says, if spider can do that, you think it's impossible for Krishna to do that, to create something, to maintain something, and to annihilate when time comes. So that's why that Urnanabhi is given. Yathornanabhi srujate guryate chetha pruthivyam aushadayah. Ramayana says that just like Shri Radha Govinda ki. Yeah, very good. So, Prithvi, Aushadaha, means the earth has ability to grow the grain or trees or plants or vegetables, right? Right out of that. It's not bringing from anywhere. It's just growing from the earth, and then most of the time the trees or plants, they go back to the earth again. So same thing is the concept is given here, that we can learn from those examples. So just like last time I had created a sketch, I tried to do this. I had a very big board, but the thing is that, I walk a half an hour in the morning and it's difficult to carry that. huge board. But I just brought this sketch just to show you. See, inside there is a point. That point is Krishna. You just imagine that there is a lake or a crystal clear water which is not disturbed at all, and then you take a pebble and you throw in the middle, right in the middle. What happens? Yeah, it makes the waves circular, 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 all the way up until it comes to the edge of the swimming pool or lake or wherever it is. But that one pebble which makes the first wave, second, third, fourth, fifth. So if you study this whole Bhagavatam, the creation, and that's what we are reading right now, the second canto. So what happens? That first of all, the Pradhana Purusha is three energies, which is a external energy, marginal energy, and internal energy. So this way, the first circle goes like that. And then it creates the modes. Modes of material natures are what? They are these mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And then you can go beyond that, gunatita, transcendental, where there is no gun, and you go beyond that, right? So all these things, this is like a second circle. And then he has created, here it mentioned in the first line, first sentence Prabhupada says, that the energy of the elements. Now if I say the element, right away you think of those 5 elements. So that is the next circle, right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? And then Aham bija pradapita, Bhagavad Gita says, I am the seed-giving father. So then he puts a seed. He made an earth. What are you going to do with the earth? Put a seed in it. Let's grow the trees. Let's grow. Yeah, see? That's the way Krishna has designed, and the whole world has evolved in that. So what happens? Even in the perspiration you will find insects and germs and all that kind of thing, right? But that's one way. Then seeds in the trees and plants, eggs, where there are birds and beasts, they are coming out from the eggs sometimes. And then semen of a man and a woman union, that creates like animals, humans and all that. Once they are created, then again, they may be, their causal body may, because of the mode of goodness, maybe mode of passion, mode of ignorance, or some kind of mixture of all those modes. So that way, 4 castes are created. He could be a Brahmin, who could be a warrior, who could be a merchant, who could be a Shudra, who is helping or serving the other, right? So these social orders and spiritual orders are created. So that is again, there is one more circle out of that pebble that we threw, right? And then they all, regardless of Brahmin or Shudra, they all will have to go to birth, death, old age and disease. And that's life, right? Everyone will go. So that is another one circle that he conceptually created that. And all they do, like some may live 10 days, a mosquito may appear for 10 days and somehow dies, or the man may live for 100 years, or turtle may live for 400 years, whatever it is. But they all go through eating, mating, sleeping, defending, right? Eat, drink, sleep, defend, create byproducts, they get married, have children and all the kind of thing. So that is another circle. And while doing that, they perform either austerity, truthfulness, mercy, purity, all that. So that is again. So I have all these things labeled in the huge board that you can think of. Anything you come across on the page, I write down. And then I add as a circle. Ultimately, I can see the whole universe in form of those waves. And then I study annihilation. What happens? The curtain was open, right? when we came. Then it closed, see? And then again it opened. That is known as kala. Kala is the most important word here in scriptures. The peacock have beautiful feathers, but then it's raising like this and then expanding like a circle, right? And then again it's just bringing back like that. Open and close, like a fan, right? The Chinese fan you see, accordion you see open suddenly. That exactly, when I study the annihilation, the thing is, cannot just disturb like, okay, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that. No. The way it entered this room, we have to take it out. So Krishna, what it does when you study annihilation, all the circles that I said coming inside, and what is left is Krishna. This is beauty. So when you look at the chart for 5 minutes, you know the whole world. You know the creation and annihilation. The other day when somebody was saying that, maintenance is most difficult, maintenance. And that's a general, what you call, tendency. But if the car is not there, if Ford company didn't think how to design a car, how to make a car, and how to produce car, how to sell it, and you own it, now you maintain it. So creation is important. Without creation, there is no maintenance. Yes, because car stays for 10 years or life stays for 100 years, you feel that maintenance. But every day is a creation for you. You do something, and that's a creation. Even making a dal and chapati, that's also creation, right? So creation is important, and then maintenance is also important, and annihilation is also very, very important, because you have to, just like I said, that accordion, opening and closing of curtain or feather of the peacock, all those examples I gave as a kala. And you have to watch out, you cannot just distract, boom. And that's why they have put these 3 personalities in charge: Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. And they are taking care of those things. So here, in this particular chapter, if you just go back and forth and try to understand, number 1, Lord Brahma says, give me the intelligence to understand you. Brahma says, after all, you shook my hands with me, consider me a friend. So in the form of a sakha, just like Arjun considers, so Brahma started thinking of a friend, bosom friend, because there was nobody else except him and Supreme Personality of Godhead. So lucky, right? And that time he says, give me the intelligence so that I can understand you. Then he says, give me the energy that I can create the universe as per your desire. Not as per my desire, as per your desire. Give me that kind of energy, potency. And then third thing says, I may not have any indolence in carrying out your orders. Sometimes we get lazy. Whatever you want to do today, you say, well, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, maybe, we still away a whole week, maybe end of the week or this weekend, maybe, I'm sure. So that, but he doesn't want that. He says, give me so that I may not have any indolence in carrying out the order. And then, final thing is asking that I may not get attached to what I create, leaving you aside. Means, many times when you draw something, like in the middle of the night, you get up and first thing is you go, turn on the light and look at your painting, go, beautiful. And then right away you think that some dot is missing, so you start working on the painting again. So that is attachment kind of thing. So Brahma says, give me that I may not even get attached to what I am creating. And finally, if you read further, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that we should give a credit to the Lord. He says, persons with a poor fund of knowledge take the credit of success into their own accounts and give nothing to the credit to the Lord. This is the symptoms of non-devotees class of man. Where I came from, that place was considered as a Manchester of India. Manchester is like those times, like the Britishers were ruling. And Manchester had a big impression on the world because it was everything for the country. So the place where I was, there was a rich guy. And he says the industry is most important for the country and for our people. So in order to engage people and give them the jobs, he created a lot of factories in our, town. Everywhere you see a lot of factories and everybody's engaged in producing something. Everybody is busy and nobody's, have time. Just produce, that kind of thing. And the paper factory and pencil factory and steel factory and everything was there. That's why they call it a Manchester of India. And that this person was a very rich man. And what it is that he was not just enjoying for himself. By doing all these things, he was making life easy for the people. That, everybody will have so much clothing, so much. Because in order to make this dhoti, you see, this is a cotton. You have to grow cotton. So all the farmers, they were busy growing cotton, right? And they were easy to sell it because those who make the cotton, they need that, so they will buy that. So similarly, from child to the old people and everybody were very, very happy. Now the guy, the rich man, had some kind of sickness. So he was admitted in the hospital, and then for 10-15 days nobody was allowed to see him, and everybody were worried and concerned about him that, he is like God for us, so far as our life is concerned. So those who are atheist, whatever thing is, but everybody respected him like anything. And then as soon as they say, okay, from tomorrow we can go and see him, the doors are open. So the first group of people went to see him. That time he says, thank God, with all your prayers and Krishna's mercy, I am saved. Then the second group came to see him. That time his tone changed a little bit. And he says, there is hospital. I am so proud of this hospital, so proud of the doctors, the nurses. Oh my God, the perfect diagnosis, perfect medication, perfect service. If I was not in this hospital, I would have been dead. So he's now giving to doctor. And the third batch comes, he says, whatever it is, of my wife. If she was not there, I would have been dead. 1 o'clock medication time, she will wake me up, give me the medication. 3 o'clock is the time, although I am dizzy, she will give me a medication, So this way, little by little bit, finally he came, the last batch, it's me. Because of me, I survived myself. Because I knew about all these symptoms of the disease, I knew how to cure it, and actually follow whatever doctor said, and without any deviation, I kept myself so much alert about this thing and awake about this, and it was not, if it was somebody else, he would have died, but it's me, because of me, I survived. So finally from Krishna all the way came down to himself. So that's what it is, that we have to be very, very careful and give at least some credit to Krishna. Now, when we read by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita or anything, There is always a mention of the disciplic succession. So, in chapter 4, the first verse says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham abhyayam vivasvana manave praha manurikshvakve abravita. Means, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god, Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed to Manu, the father of the mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. So that name Ikshvaku is a very important name. Why? Because we are directly in the parampara of that. That's one of the reasons. And the second thing, so far as this Ramayana goes that we were reading, in Ramayana, Lord Rama himself introducing himself. For example, if I ask you, or you ask me, then I'll introduce myself that this is my name and this is my dynasty. Because in those days, dynasty was more important than anything else. So in Ramayana it comes like this. Aham kila kule jat ikshvakunam mahatmanam sitapi satkule jat jankanam mahatmanam. Aham kila kule jat ikshvakunam mahatmanam means I am coming from Ikshvaku dynasty. My name is Ram. And Sita, this is my wife. Chu comes from the noble family of Janaka Maharaj. All these names, if you read Bhagavatam, then it says that there are 12 Mahajanas. Mahajana yena gata sapantha. So, their name Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manuhu Prahlado Janako Bhishmum Balirvaya Saki Vayam. So, their names are even as a Mahajana. So, even if they were not in our disciplic succession, we have to respect them. Mahajana means Mahajana Gata Sapantha. They have made this road on which you just walk without opening your eyes, and you will not trip, because that's the way to go. So any living entity will have to follow them. These are those great personalities like that. So Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manuhu Prahlado Janako Bhishmu Balirvaya Saki Vayam. So these are the what you call Mahajana. We should always chant their names and remember them by heart, so that we can follow their path and they will bless us while walking on their path. So Ikshvaku was so important. What to speak of his son? Have you heard of his son? His son's name was Nruga. When Nruga died and went up and stood before death personification, Yamaraja, scripture says Yamaraja fainted. Why? He looked at his file and he said, this is impossible. Congratulations, Nruga. You gave away number of cows as many as the particles of dust on the earth. Can you believe it? You gave away the cows as many as the stars in the sky. How much he must have had that he gave away this much, right? So, he says, You are already son of Ikshvaku and you have everything that you can think of. And you enjoy your life to the full extent. So I don't know what to give you more than this. Your pious activity is so much that you will get everything you want. It's like we can give you the whole heaven. So much charity, so much donation, so many people you please with, This is unbelievable. So he says that's one thing. But there is one more thing, he says. There is a little error in one thing, and that's why you may have to suffer a little tiny, just a point of a needle. Not much, not a big deal. But you will have to suffer anyway. So what do you want to do? You want to enjoy this riches that I am giving you, or you want to suffer first? So it's like you already have gulab jamun and rasgulla and this Prabhu made all kind of sweets, right? And somebody gives Prabhu, no, I'm just, I'm full. So Dhruv Raja came, enjoying the world, so he didn't want to enjoy right away, So he says, well, as a break, let me suffer a little bit. So Yamaraja says, you want to suffer? Fall. Then he fell on the earth and became a lizard. Then, because of his pious activities was so much that even in the life of a lizard, he could remember everything. That I had so much and I went up there and I was supposed to enjoy, and for a while I'm just here because of I asked for suffering, Yamaraja, but he's going to give me so much. Everything he remembered. And then he tried to analyze what happened, what went wrong. So he says, well, I was a big donor, like Karna was a big donor. In Ramayana comes the story, and he says, Karna had 2 plates like that, and 1 line here, 1 line that, he will give, boom. Without even opening eyes or looking what he's giving, he's just giving, right? So one time, person from the left side, he says, sir, excuse me. And he says, what? He says, I don't mind accepting this thing. This is the most beautiful or most expensive thing. Here, a huge diamond, millions of dollars worth, cladded with different jewelry and gold and all that kind of thing. So he says, this is beautiful. But I wish you had given me with your right hand so that you will be benefited, I will be benefited. Because when you accept a charity, when person gives you with the right foot, right hand, then it's not fruitful for you. And even the person who gives the charity, if he gives with the right hand, then it's benefited to him also. So you go like this, that's okay, because there's so many people and so much to give away. So Karna is to just go like that. So he says, but can you give me with the right hand? Karna says, listen, I have gone through this, the Ramayana says, many times. And that's why I don't do that. He said, but scripture, he said, I know scripture, but I have to do that, he says. The reason is that mind is flickering. Mind cannot stay even for 2 seconds on one thing. When you try to focus on something, there is no way you can focus on mind for more than 2 seconds. And actually, there is a scientific report that in Kali Yuga, like maximum, if the person is really determined, here there is a word determination in this particular verse, sankalpa. So when you resolve your heart to focus, at the most, he says, 8 seconds is the maximum. If it goes over 8 seconds, then what happens? Then, you change your mind that, oh my God, this is a multi-million-dollar diamond. This guy is naked. Better I give him the chadar instead of giving him the diamond. Oh God, this guy looks like he didn't eat for the last 30 days. Come on, bring him a sandwich. You give him, right? I will give you food, clothes, this, that, and take away the diamond and give it to the proper person, right? Why? Supatra dhanat bhaved dhanadyo, patra dhanat bhaved daritro. He said, I don't want to be daritra, I don't want to get, become poor just because I give it to wrong person, the wrong thing. And my mind start thinking about scripture and I may start following those rules, right? By the time I take this diamond from my left hand, put it in my right hand and give it to you, my mind may change, he says. What do you want me to do? Do you accept this or you want me to give you a piece of bread? So guy walk away. So here, same thing with Nuraja. When he's giving zillions of cows, the Brahmana comes and says, here 10,000 cows to you, 10,000 cows to you, right? And they both walk away with the cows. And then suddenly, people, right now we are two person only, but if there are many people, sometimes they are friendly. And when they leave the hall, what happens? One has to go downstairs, one has to go upstairs. But still, without realizing who they are following, they may make a mistake, and instead of taking this stair, both of them may go on this stair or both of them may go this way. Doesn't matter. So the cows started walking with other cow in a friendly manner, talking, hello, how are you, where are you from? You look beautiful, And then socializing this way, they just walk away. And now Brahman goes home and is trying to count the number of cows, one cow less. So he said, what should I do? King gave me 10,000 cows. He had a sankalpa, but one cow is missing. What should I do? Maybe I go back to the king. So king says, well, why you make a big deal out of one cow? I give you 10,000 cows. He says, no, king, don't misunderstand me, please. I'm just talking about one cow that I got less. So he said, what can happen is that, I just give away 10,000 here, 10,000. So maybe the other Brahmana, he said, I know the other Brahmana. So if you know the other Brahmana, go to him and take back your cow, because probably, as you said, must have walked with that Brahmana. So he goes there and the Brahmana counts cow, and this is 10,001. So he said, I don't know, maybe king had a resolution in his mind that I will give 10,001. Like usually people give donation, they get $101, right? One extra. So he says, he may have given me one more cow. So why should I give you back? So I said, let's go to. So he came back to Ruga. Now, this guy is so much charity. And so for one cow, he didn't want to waste time. So what do you want? If you want 100,000, I'll give you 100,000 cows to you, 100 cows to you. I said, no. Let's not fight. Let's fight for the principle. I want that cow, and that's it. And that Brahman says, no, I'm not going to give you that cow. Both started fighting. Eventually, Brahmano Brahmanam Dushta, Shvanavad Gurgurayate, they started fighting like dogs. And they cursed the king. And he said, keep your cows with you. We don't want even one cow from you. What kind of king are you? They walk away. So this was the fault. Now the reason I brought up this thing is Prabhuji gave one verse to Ramarao Prabhu and one verse to me. So he fell, and right away, before even I started, he specially waited to tell me that, Prabhu, I have taken care of that, okay? But somehow I said, yes, I know. But I want to narrate you the story of Nruga, because otherwise, the subject would be very dull. So that's what it is. I don't know, Prabhu. I just wish you good luck. He is your boss, and try to apologize that I'm sorry. I was supposed to give you different verse, but I could not give. So like that, But for me, I'm okay. Now, should we continue, or what should we do? I forgot to tell you one thing, that what happened during Ramayana. I told him already, and here is that Ramayana portion of Bhagavatam is still there. It was my desire, because one of the sponsors sent a check, and along with that I put a note that You sing always the Bengali songs, but try to sing some Hindi bhajan also once in a while. So I went to the front door to get the special permission because I don't see any Hindi bhajans in song book or anything. So they started interviewing me that what's the song about and who wrote it and this and that, and I said I don't know nothing about, but it's in my mind that I sing this particular song. दुख में सब हरि भजे, सुख में भजे न कोई, सुख में जो हरि भजे, दुख कहाँ से होए. Means when there is a pain, there is a calamity, you know, when you are destroyed, when there is a dejection of heart, that time you think of Krishna. When you are happy, you just forget him. But when you are happy, if you can think of Krishna, then there is no pain, no sorrow, no calamities, no dejection of heart. Everywhere you find happiness. That is bottom line of the song. So I could not sing because I didn't get the permission from higher authority. And then I'm reading this particular Bhagavatam. All of a sudden, I saw Prabhupada's purport in the Ramayana that one Hindi poet writes this bhajan, Dukh mein sab hari bhaje. Exactly the same bhajan that I wanted to sing. And I sang. And that guy says, thank you for singing. It's a beautiful bhajan, you know. And I almost cried because all these books that he wrote, I went through page by purport by purport. I never came across any Hindi bhajan. All of a sudden, Prabhupada, when I needed, gives me the purport that I was supposed to read for the congregation member, and he was happy. So, more than 50 years before, when he was writing this particular purport, because these people are Trikala Gnani, they not only know the today or present, but they also know the past, they also know the future. So he must be knowing that the day will come when somebody will think of reading exclusively from Bhagavatam, only Ramayana portion, and will say that, okay, we'll be reading it for 9 days. And at that time, the person may also would like to hear Hindi song and sing Hindi song. So what they are going to do? That's why I say he specifically thought of this and he must have given. Otherwise, nowhere you will find this. But here you find that particular reference of the song that I wanted to sing. And while I was thinking of Prabhupada. Oh my God, this great personality, you know, how great it is. So, like I said, you know, that particular, you were here, right, when I showed you this? Yeah. So this Krishna and then in expanse. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam say, Ekoham bahusyam. I'm all by myself, I'm lonely, and I want to be many. And that is why this whole creation you see that is expanding himself in a form of this material world, and then he wraps it when time comes. So this is what it is. I wanted to go to what you call, for example, element. When we say element, we only think of ether, air, fire, water, earth, and all that kind of thing. But these elements are also living beings. For example, at the end of the Ramayana, Mother Sita is very much disturbed because everyone is trying to prove her what you call chastity and purity. So he says, better I vanish from this slanderous world. And she's asking this element that we call Mother Earth, that if I am pure, please take me back. And then earth opens up and she sees a sinhasan, a throne on which Mother Earth is sitting. What it means that everything you see, the demigods or elements or any word there is a person behind it. That's why Prabhupada says that don't get into something that it has no personality or it's a nirgun and all that kind of thing. Everyone is a person. So even Mother Earth is a person. So the last 3 verses of Ramayana is the prayer to Mother Earth by what you call Mother Sita. And here Mother Earth is addressed. It's so beautiful. In this particular verse, number 28, Krishna is addresses Madhava. Madhava is Krishna. Madhava means the person who is energetic and all rest is all his energy. So he is Madhava and Mother Earth, here she is addressing Mother Earth as a Madhavi Devi. So you are a wife of Krishna. So these are beautiful verses of Ramayana and it says here like that, Mother Sita is coming in front of, with Valmiki and everybody, all the citizens are there. Very sad scene is there. And here it says, Yathaham ragavadanyam manasapi na chintaya tatha me madhavi devi vivaram datum arhati. That if I only thought of Lord Rama, right, then please take me back. There was nobody in my mind. Manasa karmana vacha yatha ramam samarchaye tatha me madhavi devi vivaram datum arhati. Manasa vacha, in my mind, in my activities, in my mouth. If there was only the holy name of Ram, then please take me back with you, because I cannot stand this slanderous word. And then she says, Yathe tat satyamuktam me vedmi ramat param nacha tatha me madhavi devi vivaram datum arhati. So, if I say whatever I said is truth, then please take me back. And the earth opens up, comes up with the Sinhasan, and she's embracing, puts next to, her on her lap, and then earth is closing, and she was sucked up in the bowels of the earth. So it was so much interesting to sing and read this particular Ramayana, and I borrowed from Prabhu this book. Thank you very much. And today I think we should stop here. It keeps going. Shravanam Ramayana Bhaktya Yah Padam Padamaiva Sayati Brahmana Sthanam Brahmana Pujyate Sada Evam Metat Puravrittam Akyanam Badramastubha Prebhya Harat Nisrabdam Balam Vishnu Pravardana. Means if you really want the blessings of the Lord, you should read the pastimes of Lord Rama. And this way it ends. So in the beginning was great, in the middle was great, in the end also great. But everything from A to Z was very painful, very sad. So I think it's a time for closing, and